Currently, popular assumption is that overall control of the Tata Group as opposed to the day-to-day running of the business house.
Do you know who the richest, most powerful family in India is? Think again. It's not the Ambanis, it's not the Adonis. It's a name you see everywhere but a family you rarely hear about. The Tatas. Worth over $400 billion, this dynasty has shaped India for more than 150 years. They built the country's first steel plant, its first airline, and even its first software giant. Their companies run ports, power plants, and luxury hotels. But here's the real question. Why don't they act like other billionaires? No flashy mansions, no scandals, just quiet domination.
A $400 billion family-run empire has been amassing a colossal fortune, shaping not just India's economy.
The origin of the Tata Empire, how one man built India's most powerful dynasty. When you think of billionaires, you probably picture extravagant lifestyles, private islands, and flashy sports cars. But what if I told you that one of the world's wealthiest and most powerful families doesn't fit that mold? Instead of stockpiling personal riches, they built a $400 billion empire that transformed an entire nation. To understand their dominance today, we need to go back to where it all started, with one visionary man who saw India's future before anyone else.
A visionary named Jamsetji Tata set out with a mission to make India self-reliant and prosperous. But in colonial India, building businesses wasn't easy. Foreign companies dominated and Indians were denied opportunities.
A young dreamer with an empire in his eyes. In the mid-19th century, India was under British colonial rule, a country of untapped potential but little industrial progress. This was the world Jamsetji Tata was born into in 1839, in the small town of Navsari, Gujarat. His family belonged to the Parsi community, a group of Persian-descended traders known for their business acumen. But even among them, Jamsetji stood out. Unlike most wealthy Indian businessmen at the time, who thrived under British trade but rarely built industries of their own, Jamsetji wanted more. He wasn't content with being a middleman for colonial powers. He dreamed of an India that could stand on its own, one that didn't have to rely on British imports for steel, textiles, and innovation. And so, with little more than ambition and an eye for opportunity, he set out to build what would become India's greatest industrial empire.
His vision later set the foundation for technical education in India and helped the nation to be counted among the industrialized nations.
The first steps of a giant. Jamsetji got his start in business by working for his father's trading firm and traveling across China, Japan, and the UK. But in 1868, at just 29 years old, he took a leap of faith. He founded his own company, Tata and Sons, with a mere 21,000 rupees, about $300 at the time. His first big move? The textile industry. At the time, Britain controlled India's textile trade, flooding the market with expensive imports. Jamsetji saw a chance. Instead of selling British textiles, he decided to make them himself. He built his first major venture, the Empress Mills in Nagpur, in 1877.
Jamsetji Tata, the founder of the Tata Group, was born to Nusarwanji Ratan Tata and Jeevanbai Kawasji Tata in 1839.
But it wasn't just another mill, it was a revolution. While most factory owners exploited workers, Jamsetji introduced unheard-of benefits, shorter working hours, pensions, and even medical facilities. This was industrialization with a conscience, a philosophy that would define the Tata Empire for generations. 4 pillars of a legacy. Jamsetji wasn't just building businesses, he was laying the foundation for a modern India. Before his death in 1904, he outlined 4 grand dreams that would shape the Tata Empire for over a century. First, he envisioned an iron and steel company to make India self-sufficient in industrial materials. This was a bold ambition at a time when the country relied on imports. Second, he dreamed of establishing a world-class educational institution to train future leaders in science and technology. He believed that India's progress depended on knowledge and innovation. Third, he planned a hydroelectric plant to provide India with clean, sustainable energy. This was revolutionary in an era when large-scale power infrastructure was virtually non-existent in the country.
Power plants to 5-star hotels, the Tata name commands respect in boardrooms from Mumbai to Manhattan.
Finally, he sought to build a luxury hotel that would be an Indian-owned icon in a British-dominated market. At the time, these ideas seemed impossible. India had no steel industry, no elite technical university, and little access to reliable power. Even Indian-owned luxury hotels were rare. But the Tata family never forgot his vision. from dream to reality. After Jamsetji's death, his successors brought his vision to life, transforming his dreams into lasting institutions. In 1907, Tata Steel was founded, becoming India's first steel plant. Today, it stands as one of the largest steel producers in the world, a testament to Jamsetji's foresight and ambition.
Transforming Tata Steel from a concept into a fully operational industry. It was no small feat. The British were skeptical of an Indian steel company competing with Western firms, and financing such a massive enterprise was a logistical nightmare.
2 years later, in 1909, the Indian Institute of Science, the IISc, was established in Bengaluru. This institution has since trained generations of Indian scientists and engineers, playing a crucial role in advancing the country's research and technological development. Tata Power revolutionized India's access to electricity, bringing power to the people long before the government did. Meanwhile, the Taj Mahal Palace Hotel, which opened in 1903, set new standards for luxury and hospitality. Even today, it remains one of the world's most prestigious hotels. What began as one man's dream had grown into a dynasty that shaped a nation, the beginning of a $400 billion legacy. While other Indian business families focused on wealth accumulation, the Tatas built institutions. Their empire wasn't about individual extravagance, it was about nation building. But make no mistake, this is still a business powerhouse. Over the next century, the Tata Group expanded into technology, aviation, automobiles, finance, and luxury brands, becoming a global force. They would even go on to buy British icons like Jaguar, Land Rover, and Tetley Tea, proving that the student had now surpassed the master. Yet, despite their massive influence, the Tatas remain a mystery. How did they manage to keep their empire intact while other business dynasties fell? And with no direct heir to the throne, who will control the Tata Empire in the future? Problems and challenges. By the mid-20th century, the Tata Group stood as an industrial giant, shaping modern India. But with great power came great problems. The empire had weathered 2 world wars, the Great Depression and colonial rule. Now, it faced its greatest challenge yet, navigating a newly independent India, where socialist policies, government intervention, and corporate rivalries would test the family's legacy like never before. At the center of this storm stood J.R.D. Tata, the group's charismatic and visionary leader. Under his stewardship, Tata had expanded into aviation, chemicals, and automobiles. But in 1947, India's independence brought a dramatic shift in the country's economic situation. Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru, deeply influenced by socialist ideals, sought to place key industries under state control. The Tata Group, once seen as an industrial partner to the British Raj, now found itself at odds with a government that viewed private enterprise with suspicion.
Not in any way that involved me very deeply. Not a very pleasant thing to do if you have to.
The first major blow came in 1953 when the Indian government nationalized Air India, a company that J.R.D. Tata had built from the ground up. It was more than a business loss, it was personal. J.R.D. had envisioned an Indian airline that would rival the world's best. Now, it was being taken away from him. Despite his disappointment, Nehru requested that J.R.D. remain chairman of the airline, a move that signaled both respect and the government's reliance on Tata's expertise. But the challenges didn't stop there. With heavy government restrictions on private enterprises, Tata had to fight for its place in industries like steel and power, where government-backed competitors were emerging. Bureaucratic red tape slowed expansion, and high taxation stifled innovation. Yet, despite these constraints, Tata remained resilient. In the 1960s and 70s, while other businesses crumbled under the weight of socialist policies, Tata found ways to adapt. Tata Motors introduced India's first indigenous commercial vehicles. Tata Chemicals expanded into fertilizers and industrial chemicals, providing crucial resources for India's agrarian economy. Meanwhile, J.R.D. championed the group's commitment to worker welfare, implementing progressive labor policies that became a benchmark for Indian industry.
Mithapur complex is one of the largest inorganic chemical complex in the world. which produces edible salt, soda ash, bicarb, caustic soda, bromine, and cement. Sustainable business model forms the core of the complex that is majorly designed by our own engineering teams. Seawater, the key raw material, is the source of raw salt.
Yet, internal challenges were also brewing. The decentralized structure of the Tata Group, once a strength, became a source of conflict. With multiple Tata companies operating independently, decision-making became slow and fragmented. A power struggle began to emerge, one that would take decades to resolve. Then came the 1990s, a period of transformation. India opened its economy to globalization, and Tata found itself at a crossroads. It had survived socialist policies, but could it compete on the global stage? The answer lay in a bold decision: consolidation. The Tata Group needed a leader who could streamline its operations, modernize its businesses, and take it beyond India's borders. That leader would be Ratan Tata, the Tata legacy.
Ratan Tata, at the age of 86, his passing marks the end of an era, but his impact on business, society, and philanthropy will live on for generations, from transforming the Tata Group into a global powerhouse to his commitment to giving back.
Ratan Tata took over in 1991, right as India embraced economic liberalization. Where others saw risk, he saw an opportunity. One of his boldest moves was the 2008 acquisition of Jaguar and Land Rover, two struggling British brands that Ford was eager to offload. Many doubted the wisdom of the purchase, but within a few years, the turnaround was undeniable. The brands became wildly profitable, silencing critics and proving that Tata's vision extended far beyond Indian borders. That wasn't the only high-stakes move. Tata Steel's 2007 acquisition of Chorus Group made it one of the largest steel producers in the world. Meanwhile, Tata Consultancy Services emerged as a global tech giant, consistently ranking among the most valuable IT firms on the planet. While the world focused on flashy billionaires, the Tata Dynasty quietly built an empire worth over $400 billion. An empire that wasn't just about business, but about something bigger. Unlike most billionaire families, the Tatas weren't just amassing wealth, they were giving it away. Over 66% of Tata Sons, the group's holding company, is owned by charitable trusts. That means billions flow into education, healthcare, and rural development every year. From building India's first cancer hospital to funding world-class research institutions, the Tata name became synonymous with progress, not just profit. But no dynasty survives without challenges. In 2016, a dramatic boardroom battle erupted when Cyrus Mistry was removed as chairman. The legal fight that followed exposed deep divisions in the Tata leadership, raising serious questions about the group's future. Would the family-controlled conglomerate survive the internal struggle? The answer came in 2017, when a non-family executive, Natarajan Chandrasekaran, was appointed chairman, signaling a new era. For the first time, the Tata Empire wasn't being led by a bloodline heir, but by a professional. And yet, the name Tata still carried immense weight. Today, as India rises as a global superpower, one question remains: what's next for the Tata dynasty? With no direct heir from the Tata bloodline in line for succession, the future of the empire may lie in the hands of professionals rather than family members. Still, one thing is certain: the Tata name isn't just a business, it's a legacy built on vision, resilience, and an unwavering commitment to nation building. As India continues its march toward economic dominance, one name will always be at the heart of it: Tata.